Yoo-hoo, and thanks for tuning in to another awful movie review.
Got a bottle around here? Yeah, there's one in the kitchen.
For this fifth and final episode of bad alien invasion movies from the 50s and 60s, I thought The Astounding She-Monster was a perfect finale to wrap up this series of intergalactic disgrace. Not only is it a turd deep-fried in diarrhea oil, I think we can all agree on that, but it also has a secret weapon at its disposal.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
Oh my god!
Yes, Edward D. Wood Jr., aka Ed Wood, aka the worst director of all time, although that title was pretty unfair if you ask me. He was the unofficial creative consultant of this film, whatever that means. And trust me when I say that even if he didn't directly write this movie, it feels like his hands were all over it. And he probably thought this was gold, but history and I would tell you otherwise.
I had a drink, I could think better.
But before we dive into this otherworldly mess, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment for a new idea of a 5-part series down below. And if you value what I do and want to help support me, please check out my Patreon link in the description.
Will you leave me alone?
Since the heart has a yearning for the unknown, if you're interested in unanswered stories of UFOs visiting Earth, bone-chilling evidence of paranormal activity, or some of the most famous murder cases gone cold, then head over to the podcast Weird Darkness, sponsoring this video. You'll find all sorts of ghoulish, blood-curdling, and most of all fascinating stories of the macabre, 7 days a week. You can listen to it on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, or go directly to their website using the link in the description down below. Now, this film of astoundingly bad quality starts off as a crime picture, as a wealthy socialite named Margaret is kidnapped by 3 mobsters and held for ransom.
If you're wondering who she is, don't bother.
This is where we are introduced to a narrator with a very muffled voice who feels the need to tell us everything that's going on.
There's the gate, Margaret. Beyond it lies the most fantastic experience of your life.
Okay. Fair enough, man. Anyway, their so-called perfect plan goes to waste after a spectacular, breathtaking car crash. And the mobsters are left with no choice but to hold up in some geologist's cabin for the night, after learning his Jeep doesn't work. Oh, but wait, now it does. And now it won't start again.
Puzzles you too, huh?
And if things weren't going bad enough for these people, they are also pestered by the cheapest, worst-looking flying saucer in existence, which crashed down in the forest nearby. And while Mr. Geologist does see it, he doesn't seem to be too jazzed about an object falling out of the sky, and just goes about his merry way. The alien that comes out of that vessel is a lady wearing a tight spacesuit, and whenever she appears, the screen starts to glow and get all wobbly. And she's not much of an animal lover. Yeah, this is one of the worst sci-fires of the decade, and that's saying a lot considering the amount of screen feces which came out during that period.
Well, so far, so good.
Most of the story takes place at night, but since the budget was so low, the crew couldn't afford lighting, which is why the characters are left wandering in the dark a lot, and I could hardly see anything sometimes.
Well, what's wrong with that?
It also features some of the most cheaply written, horrendous dialogue I've heard in a motion picture.
Brad's just one of those guys that has to carve his initials on everything he sees. It'll give character to the table. Yeah?
Unless maybe you want me to add character to your face.
Yeah, this definitely had Ed Wood's involvement. There's no doubt about it. In fact, one of the criminals was played by Keeney Duncan, who was a friend of Wood, and also went on to star in Night of the Ghouls a year later.
What's the matter? You look like you'd seen a ghost.
The alien just spends her time walking around and making the screen go crazy, and occasionally killing people by the simple touch of her hand. Oh, and that stunt where she falls off a cliff and goes into starfish mode for a second was hilarious. Apparently, this thing came in peace, but you sure wouldn't know it with this kind of facial expression. In fact, if you're wondering why she's always walking backwards when leaving a set, it's because the actress ripped her costume while filming, but they couldn't afford to buy another one, so she just had to make do with what was available.
The normal, everyday problems that confront them.
She carried a message written in English on a piece of paper in her necklace of all things, inviting Earthlings to an intergalactic meeting between planets of the solar system. The people of the other planet who sent her fear that with the discovery of the atom bomb, mankind will one day blow itself up, and even all the universe with it. Gee, I sure wonder where I've heard that one before. Well, all's well that ends well.
Oh, you got rocks in your head.
Ultimately, The Astounding She-Monster is anything but astounding. It's a snail-paced sci-fi snoozer and one of the pinnacles of ultra-low-budget filmmaking.
Can't we take the Jeep and get away from this terrible place?
It's packed with stilted scenes, bad acting, and tedious continuity of characters just going back and forth into the cabin. And the cherry on top of the cake, some not-so-special special effects. Man, does this 1 hour and 2 minutes flick feel like a lot more. So there you have it, part 5 of this series is officially up. Hope you enjoyed it and stay tuned for much more. And on that note, you know I have to say it, what an awful movie!